Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am the DM as always, and thank you for taking the moment to stop at my corner. Today, rather than edit and upload part 2 of my Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, we're still going to be talking about Baldur's Gate, mind you, but today we're talking about someone who I didn't think I would actually talk about in a negative light. David Gaider. Now, if you don't know who David Gaider is, he worked on Dragon Age, the Dragon Age series. And today we're talking about him because he has decided to say something that I just cannot allow to go unmentioned. He said that the Dragon Age fandom consistently gave way more latitude and forgiveness to male characters as opposed to female characters in every game. In every game. Now, I bring this up because down here, he states very specifically that fans would be more forgiving of Lysel if Lysel was male. Nothing else about her was changed, only her sex. Which, he doesn't say this, but this heavily implies that he is calling everyone who hates Lysel a sexist. That's what he is implying with this statement. Now, I take personal offense to this, because I'm not sexist. I hate everyone pretty equally. And the reason I hate Lysel, and the reason that the majority of people hate Lysel, is because she is a racist, xenophobic motherfucker. She is a Githyanki. And if you don't know what a Githyanki is, let me explain it to you. A Githyanki is a race of psionic people who live inside of the astral plane and are at an eternal war with the Illithids in Faerun in Dungeons and Dragons lore. They are heavily xenophobic, and they really believe that they are superior to everyone. Not just Lysel, David Gaider. Not just Lysel. Now, there have been a few people who have made remarks about this, such as Peter here, who says, but also I think the audience demographic way back in 2009 was different. And he asked if David had ever done interviews about working on Dragon Age Origins or other entities, because they love the Dragon Age novels. And his response is that it was the same way for Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Inquisition, not just Dragon Age Origins. The fandom has always treated male characters with more forgiveness, full stop. Now, he's stating that the Dragon Age fandom is like this, and that because the Dragon Age fandom, in his opinion, is like this, full stop, that all fandoms are like this. That everyone who hates a female character is sexist because they would be more lenient towards male characters. Which, David, is just flat out not fucking true in any way, shape, or fucking form. Now, part of this exchange, we can see right here, is them talking about Morrigan. Now, Morrigan in Dragon Age, it's a really, really well-written character. Morrigan is a very dark female character, and when they first show her off, it does as they say, it does everything right to make you like the character before showing you her dark side, Clark said of Morrigan's introduction in Dragon Age Origins. I don't think they did this with Lysel. Now, before we get into any more of that, I just want to address something real quick. Morrigan, when she was introduced, we didn't really have much of a choice in whether or not she joined our party. In Dragon Age Origins, she is forced onto the party. You have to take her into your party. Full stop. Full stop. You don't get a choice of whether or not she joins you. She is forced into your party. Now, you don't have to take her into your active party, but you do still have to take her into your party. Full stop. You don't have a choice in this matter. Now, as for her character, I've played all of Dragon Age Origins. I've played Dragon Age 2. I've played and beaten Dragon Age Inquisition. I've experienced her entire storyline throughout all of the games. Morrigan in Dragon Age Origins is a very well-written character. She is a very beloved character. However, I do not like her. I don't. She is manipulative. She hides things from you. She does not tell you a lot of things that you should really tell someone you are adventuring with. And as a result, I hate her. I do not like Morrigan. When I go back and I play any of the Dragon Age games, if she is a part of my entourage, I never take her with me. And if ever given the choice, I either kick her out of my party or I kill her. Because I do not like her. Lizelle, I do not like. However, it's not because she is a female. David Gaider? No, I do not like Lizelle because she is a Githyanki. Because all Githyanki in the lore are racist xenophobes. And if you don't believe me, David Gaider, which I'm sure you don't, here, let me pull up what the Githyanki lore is for Dungeons and Dragons. Here is the Forgotten Realms fandom wiki, which I will admit is a wiki from the fans, and so isn't necessarily 100% representative of the actual lore. However, Dungeons and Dragons nerds are very particular about their lore. And so let's see what their personalities are like, shall we? Githyanki were typically cruel, arrogant, and aggressive. The few exceptional individuals who deserted the rigid Githyanki militaristic society tended to develop a disdain for rules. The high value they placed on individuality also caused them to become ambitious and self-centered. They were also known for their long memories. Even the most open-minded Githyanki came across as smug, sarcastic, rude, and overconfident, but they were generally capable of withstanding adversity without complaining. Clever and resourceful Githyanki adventurers were not known for their loyalty or ability to make new friends. I wonder why. But they were extremely persistent in the face of danger. Although rare, it was possible for Githyanki to become disillusioned with their people's unsavory habits and to try and set up a reputation on their own acts. As a result of their long-lasting presence in the astral plane where time did not pass, the Githyanki developed a decadent lifestyle, picking up hobbies, arts, and studies in an endless search for novelty. After centuries, they developed a hollow culture of shallow and unfinished undertakings, never truly mastering any task or seeing any personal project to completion. This constant interest with novelty also reflected in their dressing style. Githyanki were fond of collecting and wearing extremely ornate and elaborate tokens of their defeated foes. It was common for their armor and weapons to be overly decorated with gems, feathers, precious metals, and other ostentatious ornaments. Now, I want to read all that so no one can try and say that I'm leaving something out, but what I want you to focus on is the very first sentence. Githyanki were typically cruel, arrogant, and aggressive, okay? society. Now, here's the important thing to keep in mind, David. Githyanki society was extremely well organized and orderly. It had a militaristic and meritocratic structure with no regard to blood ties, and with both males and females training heavily in magic and combat. Although they were loyal to each other, they were also fiercely individualistic. Raiding Illithid strongholds was considered a rite of passage. Githyanki society was divided into three main castes. Although rigid, there was the possibility of moving between castes through intense competition. The major caste was the military, followed by the smaller Malar, who were in charge of crafts and specialized tasks, and the Galathic, who were in charge of food production and labor. Within each of the castes, there were further subdivisions according to specialized professions. The military castes included the knights and warriors within the military hierarchy, in addition to the Gish and other spellcasters. Now, it's important that we take a moment here because Lae'zel is a part of the military caste of the Githyanki. And the Githyanki are already highly competitive. Okay? Now, we scroll down to the relationships, we'll get a very interesting little tidbit about the Githyanki. As a people, Githyanki were generally proud and xenophobic. Now, in case you don't know what xenophobic is, let me bring that up real quick. Xenophobic, having or showing a dislike of or prejudice against peoples from other countries. Now, if we go back to the Githyanki, shall we? They viewed all other races with contempt and were generally unwilling to learn anything about other cultures, including other languages. They viewed material plane dwellers as ignorant and incompetent, or in worse cases, as potential slaves. Okay? Now, we don't need to go much farther than that to get an understanding that Githyanki as a whole hates literally everything that is not them. David Gaider. So people do not hate Lae'zel because she's a fucking female. They hate her because Githyanki as a whole are xenophobic. And that Githyanki as a whole refuse to learn other cultures, including their languages. And that they view them as a whole as ignorant, incompetent, and potential slaves. David Gaider. So, here's what I have to say to you, David Gaider, as we scroll down here to look at Joseph Clark's tweet in response to yours. David Gaider, instead of living in your own little fucking bubble and continuing to blast Larian Studios for making an RPG that actually has some fucking weight to their characters, why don't you look around and listen to what other people are saying? Okay? Now, you are a part of a select few AAA developers that have been blasting Larian Studios for daring to make an RPG that's actually fucking good, that has characters that have depth to them. Now, if we look at what Joseph Clark says, he says, I've been thinking about this all week. That first meeting with Morgan is truly brilliantly written for an RPG. And it is. It's brilliantly written. It does everything right to make you like the character before showing you her dark side. I don't think they did this with Lizelle. However, you then respond by saying it truly does not matter. This isn't specific to Lizelle, but in her case, had the character been male, the fandom would have been more forgiving. I guarantee it. Well, David Gaider, before I wrap this up, let's take one last look back at what the Githyanki are. They are proud, xenophobic, view all other races with contempt, unwilling to learn any of their cultures or languages, and they view all material plane dwellers as ignorant, incompetent, and potential slaves. This has not a goddamn single fucking thing to do with the fact that she is female, you fucking ignorant, dumb motherfucker. This has everything to do with the fact that she is a Githyanki, and that Githyanki as a whole are racist, xenophobic, and at worst, slave drivers. So your entire take is flat out wrong. Flat out wrong. In the fact that you want to say that, oh, the Dragon Age fandom views this because that's how I see them viewing it, then all fandoms must view it this way. The fact that that is your stance, oh my God, it pisses me off. It pisses me off to no fucking end. And this comes off the heels that this stupid motherfucker wants to try and say that they are confident that if he was a guy, people would be swooning over him. Oh wait, that's Asterion. Motherfucker, you clearly did not play the fucking game. You clearly did not play the game. Asterion and Lizelle are nothing alike. Nothing. Asterion was forced to become a vampire thrall, who then found out that the only reason he even became a vampire thrall was because his master, the guy that turned him into a vampire, wanted to use him to further his own ends and sacrifice Asterion to become a vampire god. Asterion has been alive for 200 years in the material plane, where his entire life has been dictated and ruled over by another. Where his entire life he was a slave. Lizelle has lived her entire life as a racist xenophobe who sees everyone on the material plane, including Asterion, as a potential slave, as incompetent. The two are nothing alike. Nothing. Holy fuck. And the fact that both of you don't seem to understand this goes to show that neither of you have actually played the game. Have actually taken the time to go in and put in the hours to learn about these characters. Because towards the end of the game, Lizelle has a completely different tone. Lizelle, after spending a lot of time that she would have rather not spent with those on the material plane and being forced to learn how people on the material plane act and think and feel, her entire fucking tone changes. Her entire tone changes. Because she grows as a character. Something that you, David Gaider, wouldn't seem to fucking know a goddamn fucking thing about. Now, the entire reason I made this video is because this motherfucker pissed me off. I'm not going to carry it on too much longer because I've said my piece. David Gaider, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Fuck you for saying that we're sexist because Lysel's a female. And fuck you, Black Cylinder, for also implying that we're sexist because Lysel's not a guy. Thank you all for coming to my channel. I'll have a Baldur's Gate 3 second part out soon. I'll see you next time.